Welcome back to Inclusion Revolution here on Eastlink TV. We're so glad you're joining us today, and we're so glad you're joining us today, Meredith.
Thank you.
To talk about the Fountain of Harmony, and not just the book, which we've discussed before, but the new evolution.
Right.
When we broke, we were promising to talk about the next step, the game. So let's move right into it, if you would.
Sure.
Meredith, I know that this is the box of the game,
Right.
and I have to show it because, of course, I thought you were bringing pizza.
Right.
So can you tell me, first of all, why a pizza box? And then we'll talk about the content.
Sure. The pizza box really works for children. It totally attracts their attention because they do think it's pizza.
Are they disappointed?
It also, no, they're not. It also makes the game a little more fun because usually you wouldn't get board games in a pizza box, right? So it has that flavor to it.
Okay, so I had to get over the packaging because I really thought you were bringing me lunch.
Right.
But I think it's fantastic, and if that's something that appeals to people, and I know you've done a lot of trials with both the book and the game.
We have, yes.
So the responses, have they affected some of the decision-making you made, actually, in the development of the game?
Absolutely. We've spoken with the Department of Education, as I mentioned earlier, and as a result, we've decided to make some small, minor adjustments with their recommendations to narrow down the questions and the trivia and that sort of thing in the box, in the board game, to sort of a lower developmental level and save the harder questions for a higher developmental level for a different sort of game.
So I think what I'm hearing from you is there's now 3 products. This just keeps growing every time I talk to you, Meredith.
Exactly.
Because we talked about the book.
Yep.
We're now discussing the game, and now what I'm hearing from you is some of the more challenging questions within the game are going to be shifted into like a high school level kind of project whereby you're going to develop a trivia game for high school.
Right.
So you've actually developed 3 products that you believe will be really helpful in the understanding and inclusion of persons with disabilities within that, at that age, at as many ages as we go through the school system.
Exactly.
Why is that so important?
It's so important so that the children understand what's in the book, first of all, and in the game. But as they grow, they learn a little more, and their developmental level gets higher as well, and so it needs to be at that right stage. And so we'll learn a little bit more as we grow up, and we're more aware of our community and that aspect of
So really,
life
this is basically a focused attempt to do disability awareness,
right,
and open up minds about bullying and why we bully, and also acceptance and all of those many themes that come along with not just disability alone, but all of those youthful themes that we all face,
right,
and taking it to both the book, the game, and then to a higher level through the trivia game. And that was something you've been working with the Department of Education with.
Right.
That's extraordinary. I'm so excited. Can we open the game?
We sure can.
Okay. So
I've
I
already
know
pulled up
that
the board for you.
There you go. So this board, I just think it's so bright and so beautiful. I hope the camera can really capture it. Can you tell me a little bit about what happens in the game? I mean, I get it looks sort of snake and laddery, but it's not really, is it?
No, it's not.
So can you just take us through some of the key points in the game that make it interesting, but
Sure.
also educational?
Yeah. So everybody will start down in the beginning, and the first square we come to is Alex Action.
Right. And you have cards, I know.
I do have cards. These ones are the
Alex Action.
Ones.
So for instance, if someone were to land on that, and I'm just going to read one of your questions if you don't mind, and then maybe you can tell me the answer.
Sure.
Or if I don't know it. But you or someone you know needs help. You can choose to keep the card for future use, to help another player when they land on a help space, or to help yourself. Now tell me why that question. I think I kind of know, but I'd like to hear it from you.
Yeah, it's encouraging people to ask for help when they need it. Whether it's a person with disability or without, sometimes we're hesitant to ask for help. So we've built in help spaces on the board. So they're the red ones. And at each spot that there's a help space, there's an obstacle. So the first one is the boulders, then there's the tree that's fallen over, and that
right. And what I also like about the question is you can help someone else or help yourself.
Right.
And there's an interesting opportunity there to create a concept around altruism, giving, the good feeling of giving. Here, I'm going to help you.
And they also benefit from helping others because they get to move forward as the other person moves forward.
So there's actually reward to doing the right thing essentially built into the game.
Yeah.
I love that. So we've got Alex Actions, which are varying, I know.
Yeah.
And then there's something called
the Triads Trivia.
Triads Trivia.
Triad we didn't speak about earlier. He's a character that was born with 3 legs, cheetah with 3 legs, that's able to run faster than most of the cheetahs that he knows. And
so his physical disability, of course, is not slowing him down, and that's really the message with our cheetah.
Right, and so he's giving us the trivia, And as you answer the trivia questions, then you continue to move on. So the trivia is in a multiple choice sort of format.
And that's these triads trivia.
Right.
And I was kind of going through the cards on break. I hope you don't mind, because
Nope,
I thought
that's
some
okay.
of them were really interesting. And again, I'm always interested in what the purpose is and also why these are important questions and what they're, of course, leading to.
Right.
For instance, mental health disability, which we both know is a highly misunderstood disability. The question here under triads trivia is, what is a mental health disability? Is it a disability affecting people's legs? A disability that makes people unable to hear? A disability that affects thoughts, feelings, and actions, or all of the above? Now, I'm going to make a wild guess and say it's C, a disability that affects thoughts, feelings, and actions.
You are correct.
Well, I'm hoping so. I'm the expert. But what I really want to ask you is, what does that get people talking about? Do you know what I mean? With that kind of answer, it's getting beyond just the C, I got it right, or the guessing. What dialogue can occur as a result of a question, especially around mental health, which we all know is super misunderstood and often swept under the carpet due to the stigma?
Right. It's a topic for discussion through the game and the book, but it allows people to actually talk about it. It's not that topic that's swept under the rug anymore, and it's in a language that children understand.
Right.
It helps to break down those barriers that folks with mental health disabilities experience in society. And it's starting at the ground level with younger children to be able to talk about it, so it's not a scary topic.
Right. And this was my favorite that I got through to, because there's a lot, and quite frankly, I didn't get through them all. But I really loved this because I think it spoke a lot to our treatment of each other. This question being, what do people with disabilities expect at their job? And I think this is so fascinating. Do they want to be treated with respect? Do they want to be treated as children? Do they prefer to be ignored? Or all of the above? And what's fascinating to me is, obviously we want to say treated with respect, but what's important here is, who wouldn't?
Right.
And isn't it the case that so many of the things we think are different about persons with disabilities and persons who don't identify as having a disability aren't actually there at all, because everybody wants to be treated with
Exactly.
respect. And I see that as one of the key messages. So the board is dynamic. It's really special. And if you wouldn't mind reading, because I can't, no glasses, what happens at the end when you get to that fountain of harmony right in the middle?
It says that acceptance comes from within. The fountain is a place of belonging and harmony for all.
And that's really the message.
Yep.
That we all are in it together. And as a
Exactly.
result, these are the kinds of tools that your program wants to provide to the mainstream education community as a result of seeing the success, because I know you've tried these games and books that you were
Right.
telling me a lot
Yeah.
about that you've gotten already. So I want to say, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
I want to tell you, I just think the board is beautiful, so good for you. Again, we have the Fountain of Harmony game. Boy, oh boy, I'm telling you, I feel like I'm really hawking it today. We have the Fountain of Harmony book, and you were mentioning about one other item that you've been asked to develop by the Department of Education, and again, that's more of a high school,
Junior high and high school.
and that would be more in the trivia question line.
Exactly. It would be a little more detailed, little higher developmental level in the questioning and that sort of thing.
Right, and I know you also mentioned it provides like teacher's aid, so there's more dialogue and providing them key messages, because not that the teachers don't always have the education either, and we certainly get that.
Yeah.
So first of all, I want to say thank you, Meredith,
You're welcome.
for coming today. Before we take our break, I just wanted to also thank all of the youth involved in all of these programs, and maybe you can throw some first names out and thank them all for us.
Sure. Gabriel, Jen, Stephanie, Tim. Those are the
Absolutely,
game
the core
folks.
people.
Yeah.
And thank you for that, and thank you to them. We'll be right back after this break with a closeout, our poll of the week, and of course our news of the week as well. We'll be right back here on Inclusion Revolution.